Now we know what the Lord remembered, amen. The Lord remembered all the stuff she's gone through. He remembered every wrong word that was spoken unto her. He remembered every tease, every taunt, amen. He remembered every tear that she cried. He remembered every false accusation that was leveled against her. He remembered every time no one understood what was going on. Her husband going, what's the matter with you? He remembered that, amen. He remembered that she came before him, and despite all that stuff, she still came and pressed through and brought herself before God.
Amen.
And poured her heart out unto him. He remembered it all, amen. Watch what happens when the Lord remembers you, amen. Verse number 20. Wherefore it came to pass when the time was come about, after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, amen, and called his name Samuel. Samuel means heard by God. Amen. Some might say it means asked of God. But either way, amen, heard by God, asked of God, Samuel was it. Amen. And then she dedicated him unto God. Let's not take for granted that Samuel becomes one of the greatest leaders of Israel without understanding. Look at his mother. 2 or 3 years she had with this boy to put inside of him how important it is to worship the Lord, and how the Lord is faithful, and how the Lord will remember you. She knew that firsthand because she was a mother who had been through some things.
Amen.
So she went from having no children to now having 6, and one of them growing up to be one of the greatest leaders in Israel. Don't tell me, amen, that when the Lord remembers you, that's a slight thing, amen. When the Lord remembers you, it shows how much he cares. And God just wants you to know in this story of Hannah, for you, all you mothers on Mother's Day, amen, wherever you may be, the Lord remembers you. And all the things you've been through, those rocky roads, those ups and downs, those concerns that you have that you share with nobody else. Because don't you know mothers have secret compartments that they don't share certain things with other people, amen? But God knows what they are. And he remembers your good times and your bad. He remembers when people treat you right and when people treat you wrong. He remembers when you smile and when you're sad. God remembers it all. And he remembers you, mother, because it matters to him. And in the end, he's going to bless you. Amen. Amen. He's going to bless you with that thing that has been missing, that thing that has been missing from your life. God's going to bless you with it. But you got to continue to believe in him, mother. Amen? Because he remembers. And I think about that on this week. Because my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, she recently, amen, just on Thursday, moved down to North Carolina. And for years, my mother-in-law has lived with her children, from one to the other to the other. In fact, she lived including living with us for a time. And I remember back in, it had to be in the mid-'80s, I guess she was living with us. Right. And I remember, you know, after a while, don't you know, it seemed like, you know, the living space becomes too small. Can't get along like we used to. Amen? And she was moving out. And I remember having a conversation with her. This was back in the 80s. And she's saying, I just need a place of my own. She wasn't working anymore. How are you going to get a place of your own? New York City, a rough place. Amen. Health issues and other issues. It's like, no, you need to be with somebody. And for all these years, she would say she needed a place of her own. And over the last couple of years, she started saying it more and more. I just need a place of my own. So on Thursday, I called her, and she was at the airport on her way to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Why? Because she had found a place of her own. Amen. 20, 25 years of wanting it, amen? 20, 25 years of going from one child to the other, and living there long enough until the conflict, the inevitable conflict came about. Then you move on to somebody else. But she's mom. Well, you need to be with somebody, mom. But she's a person. who has hopes and dreams just like everybody else.
Amen.
And her hope and her dream was to get a place. So I'm talking to her, and she's so excited. She's telling me about the place, and I'm doing more listening than talking. And she's just talking, and she's giggling, and she's talking, and she's talking, and she's talking some more. And she stops and she talks. And finally I just said to her, I'm happy for you. I know you're going away. I know there may be some issues. Listen, there's always issues in life.
Amen.
You know what she said to me? She said, I'm so glad to hear you say that. She said, because no one's really saying that to me. And I saw this, and I said, you know what?
Jesus.
This is nothing but a blessing from God. God remembered you.
Jesus.
He remembered every argument you had. He remembered every tear you cried. He remembered everything that someone said against you. You're too old, you're too frail, you're too weak, you're too sick, you're too this, you're too that. And he said, don't worry, I'm going to remember all of it. And then when he opened the door, there was someone that said, yeah, watch. Then the next door opened. Yeah, but then the next door opened. And then the next door. And you know what God was doing? Shutting the mouths of every Penina that your mother ever had to deal with.
Jesus.
Every Eli who wrongly accused her of something. And he said, look at what I've done. So every mother out there, every mother who has been through pain and heartache, disappointment, false accusations, dashed hopes and dreams, as long as you're still alive, God's not done with you yet.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
And continue to have faith in Him. Because that thing that you're missing, that thing that you've been longing for, please understand, God has it on His mind.
Amen.
And if you remain faithful, like Hannah, if you maintain your dignity and your integrity, even in the midst of false accusations and cruel treatment, God's going to remember you. And He's going to remember you because all you asked for, Hannah, was a son.
Jesus.
Amen.
And God always does exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we ask or think.
That's right.
Amen.
Because He gave her 3 sons
3 sons.
and
2 daughters.
2 daughters. Happy Mother's Day, amen.
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 And the Lord remembered her. And the Lord remembers you.